And we are live, guys. What's going on? We got Design Atelier in the comments. Jason, we got Bruce, Blueshirt Buddah. What's up, guys? Of course, you guys met Jorge before, George. And what are you wearing, George?
I have the let's see, where is it? The SNK 809.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
This was the best $40 I ever spent. This was a God, actually, I just saw it today because I couldn't remember the reference number. And so I went on Amazon where I bought it. And, you know, like on Amazon, when you look something up that you bought previously, it'll tell you the last time you bought it. This was a Black Friday deal in 2016, and it was $40.
Nice.
And I saw it on Amazon today. It was going for $135.
Yeah, they've gone up. It's crazy how much they've gone up.
I never thought I would see these little things go up to.
I think it's because a lot of YouTubers recommend them as like a first watch, and then everybody sees the videos, and that, of course, skyrockets the price.
Yeah.
I'm wearing the, which I found out through my research. Like I said, I found out it's actually a 1505 reference number Rolex.
Okay.
Not the 1500. So it's a two-tone. I've actually got it on a red NATO strap today. I'm actually kind of liking this thing on NATO straps. It kind of goes with, you know, a lot of different straps.
That goes with like everything, you know, like kind of everything. You know what I mean?
Pretty much. I do need to buy, like you said, like maybe like a leather collar or something like that for it.
Yeah, I think it would look sharp on a. I think I told you like a shell cordovan, a black shell cordovan.
Yeah,
like a really, like I've always said, expensive watches deserve you know, expensive bands.
Oh yeah.
So like something like that. Like I have from my dad an 18 karat manual wind Jules Jurgensen from, I think it's like from the late 60s or something like that. And that one I put on a black shell cordovan.
Nice.
So
nice. But basically tonight's topic, guys, is, of course, as you know, I consolidated the whole collection, and this is kind of like the second one. I believe it was me. Was it me and Bobby? I think that had talked about it once before, about me consolidating. I think.
Yeah, I think
one
so.
time. But I'm down to, believe it or not, I'm down to 8 pieces now. And the two main ones that I actually wear now are, of course, the Rolex I'm wearing now, and then my G-Shock Square, of course, are basically the two main ones that I wear. And I figured, you know, consolidating, because I get, with the channel, I get to check out a lot of cool pieces. I still have this Youngins in. I'll probably drop the video, like I told you earlier. I'll probably drop the video on that tomorrow. And that's a killer watch. Nice that can make a really good everyday kind of watch too. Only thing is the water resistance isn't that. You got to kind of watch it with water resistance. That's about the only bad knock on that watch. But other than that, that's almost like a perfect everyday kind of wear watch.
Yeah, I would even, I mean, depending on what strap you put on it, you could even, that could be a dress watch.
Oh yeah,
that could be an everyday / dress watch.
Definitely, but I gotta send that back to them soon, so I'll probably drop the review on that tomorrow, like I said. And I'm down to, believe it or not, 8 watches. 2 of them are automatics, believe it or not, guys, and the rest are almost all quartz, because I got rid of almost all my automatics. Yeah, I've got the this one, the Rolex, of course, and then the of course, this one's not going anywhere. The Orange Monster.
Yeah,
it's not going anywhere. That's staying out. That's the only other time I really wear this is, of course, game day when Clemson plays every Saturday. I'll wear this. Then, you know, of course, off season I still do wear it because I wear a lot of orange. But mainly that, and the Citizen, believe it or not, is already. It'll probably be gone tomorrow. It was kind of a catch and release already, which this is an eco drive. It's not an automatic, as you know, the Blue Angels. Yeah. And I know a lot of you guys are going to say shitters is the term. But I still love this little piece too. Probably the best $30 I ever spent. This one here, that gets a lot of wear time for work. And then the Timex Q, which, believe it or not, I had a viewer commented on one of my video from yesterday. He saw this, and he's offered to send in mailing his vintage Timex Q, so I can do a comparison video on this to the vintage to the original Timex Q. So that'd be pretty cool.
Nice.
And then of course the Casio Duro. Yeah, I still have that one. Which this was another versatile piece. Of course, like I said, another really good watch for $60. And I still have the DW 5600, of course. But a lot of people would say, they're kind of shitters on those. But I mean, I like what I like. So, and
that Duro, I nicknamed the Bill Gates because that's the one he wears.
And then they're definitely really versatile pieces too. I mean, they actually have the blue dial out now too, which was pretty cool. I seen they have those out on Amazon. And we got Thomas Burnett, Ken Spear, Urban Country. What's going on, guys? What is everybody wearing in the comments, watch-wise? What are you guys all wearing? And then Urban Country was saying the young hens would look great on a mesh strap. I agree with him on that one. It would probably look great on that. But I've gone more towards the one great thing about having the channel, I realize, is getting to experience a lot more, variety of pieces from different micro brands and even mainstream brands and everything. And I've gotten to realize like what I like and dislike. Like some of I don't really have any buying or selling regrets. I do miss the Breitling. Like I said, I am saving up for the Breitling, and I have a feeling that will be back in the collection probably sometime this year, probably sometime beginning of next year, maybe towards the end of next year. And I feel like that's a pretty versatile piece as well. Now I thought about getting the what's going on, Bobby? We got Bobby in the comments too. But I feel like getting that one back along with the Rolex, probably that, and then the G-Shock would be a good trio. And then, as I mentioned to you, I think I'm probably going to pick up a Marathon because I really enjoyed that Marathon. As me and Bobby were talking about, we don't really want to coin the term beater watch anymore, but I feel like the Marathon would make a great everyday wear, one you could wear to work, not have to worry about it getting beat up or anything like that. You got Clive in the comments. What's going on, guys? But
I told you I know because I know we were talking about, and I think quote unquote beater, like my which I still can't find, my G-Shock 5600. It's one of those that it's around here, it's around the house somewhere, and I can't. But to replace it, I got the Mission Impossible Casio.
Okay.
That's like the the hexagon looking one. I'm really liking that one, but I have a tendency. I know I told you before we went on. I call those like to-do watches because that's what I wear when I'm doing the to-do list, or the honey-do list or whatever. I'll work on the car with those. I'll mow the lawn, do yard work, stuff like that, and not care. But I'm even though I bought that Mission Impossible one, I know that watch is around here somewhere, but it's pissing me off. And I saw a video on that Mission Impossible one, and I was just like, I'll just go ahead and let me just get that watch. And if I find it, I find it, and if not, at least I got this one.
Okay, I'm going to post the link, by the way, if Design Atelier or Bobby or Clive or anybody wants to join. No trolls, guys. I'll take you off if you try anything. But
yeah, I got pretty bad. I got pretty bad last time, but
yeah.
So so you said you're down to 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's a good number? Is that the number you're looking to stay at? Or
I feel like 8 to 10 would make a good solid collection where they're still all getting worn. Because like I said, I feel like even right now though, the two that I get worn the most right now was, of course, I'm still honeymooning with the Rolex. I've only had that. How long have I had that? Maybe a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
So I'm still kind of honeymooning with that. So I don't know if that'll change or not. But I feel like this one in the G-Shock, even before then, the G-Shock was one of the ones that ended up getting, worn the most just because it's so comfortable. We got Clive coming on, by the way, guys. What's up, Clive, the rancher?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Not too bad. Just talking about collection consolidation. Just
good. How
saying
are you?
that I'm actually down to 8 pieces now, believe it or not.
I'm down to 7 or 8 pounds.
I hear you. What are your thoughts on consolidation, Clive? Or you just collect just multiple?
Well, I think tastes change and preferences change. So if you've fallen out of love with a watch, why not try to share the love?
We got Jason, Design Atelier, in here. What's up, buddy?
Good, just hanging around.
Nice. What are your thoughts on consolidation? You think it's a good thing, or do you think as collectors we should have? Like I had like 24, I think I counted 28 one at George at one point. I think I had.
Yeah.
It's like 24 or 28 pieces at one point, and I felt like it was getting to be like too much. I mean, I know a lot of them were quote unquote cheaper watches, but I feel like kind of like less is more. I feel like. What's your thoughts on that, Jason?
Yeah, well, I lean towards the minimalist side of things, and the less, the better, because that puts more attention to the ones that you actually have. Because it's really just a pity if you don't enjoy a lot of your pieces. And yeah, it all depends too. Because if you have like a solid rotation, I'm also like meticulous at that. I just want to like keep up with my rotation because I know, like, I mean, each and every one of those watches means so much to me. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
When it starts to lose that appeal, when it starts to mean less to you, then maybe it's time to let it go.
Yeah, because I had like a lot that were just pretty much just collecting dust, just sitting there, that weren't getting worn, and it only been worn like a handful of times.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, because right now, well, not right now. I mean, I always work from home, and I wear less watches now that I work from home because, like, you know, I will grab the same piece that I was wearing the day before, or you know, I'm wearing more G-Shocks, or I'm wearing more like the Casio, the F91W. Like that one I wear a lot just because it's just like, you know, after I finish work, I'll throw it on the desk and I sit. When I get back, when I go to work the next day, I'll just grab it and put it back on. So, I mean, I'm wearing even less watches now than I used to.
Now, Clive, you got multiple pieces. I don't know how many, of course, but you've got a pretty big size collection. Do you find yourself gravitating towards like 2 or 3 main ones that you rotate towards over all the others?
That's right. Neither do I. Know how many I've got. Well, here's the funny part. There's on Flip and Zippo, Showcase Watches, or James was talking about the fact that he's also, this came up with him. And he's talking like a 3, I think he's talking like a Submariner, he's one of the Submariner Node, the current model. I think he had a GMT and then a Speedmaster. He said for him the trouble was that he also had a Black Bay 58 Blue, and that was problematic because he would just pick that thing on and not want to wear anything else. And my response is, that's the one you really like. Why the hell are you wanting to get rid of the one you really like? I think a lot of times we have aspirations or goals or whatever, but I think we're out of touch with what we really want or what really pleases us.
Do you think a lot of times we just listen to kind of what everybody else says? Like, you think you should tick these, but tick certain boxes. Like you should have one of these, have one chronograph, one diver, one etc.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of ways I will respect someone. That I've known people that I detested their watches, but I respected the collector because they had a clear goal and a philosophy, and they stuck to it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Because the thing is, I believe that if you're, it's like a hierarchy in collecting. If you're like a beginning collector, you're just starting to feel what's your style, what's your collecting philosophy. And once you get older or mature in the collecting scheme, then you gradually understand, hey, I'm actually a diver watch collector. I'm actually a dress watch collector. And then that's when you start to really focus in on what your interests are. And that's just how collecting is. I mean, in any kind of collecting, whether it's car collecting, stamps collecting, or what have you, you just start off feeding out whatever you want, and then as time passes by, you just focus on it.
Yeah, and at the beginning, you're hoarding a bunch of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you're buying a bunch of stuff because you think, yeah, anything that looks remotely cool or remotely, you know, in your opinion, anything that you like, you know, just as in the slightest, I'll go out and buy that, and so, you
I've
know,
been through that.
after a while, you're just like, God, why did I like, you know, you're looking and it's just like, why did I buy that? Like, you know.
Or a lot
Definitely.
of people. Well, have you ever seen, like, you remember like Star Trek 4, the beginning of it, where they landed on they're getting ready before they left from the planet Vulcan, and Spock was playing like Super Jeopardy against like 4 computers. They're asking him different questions from like all surrounded him, and the last question was, "How do you feel?" I'm sorry, I do not understand the nature of the question. And I almost think it's
True.
I almost think it's the same way with a lot of collectors out there. I know you're busy listening to everybody else. You're listening what's hot or what's valuable or what's desirable, and you don't pay any attention to how you personally feel about the watch.
True.
And that sounds insane. And if you're a normal person, it's totally insane. But I've had an email saying, "Hey, man, my AD gave me a call. You know, I'm going to be able to get the new Sea Dweller 43 at cost, and I don't really like it." And I'm like, "Well, why the fuck are you getting it if you don't really like the watch?" And I think there's some people
The thing is, with ADs, they know the audience, and there's like maybe half of them are collectors, and half of them's just like, hey, this is like a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
But buying, feeling pressure to buy watches, or not having a watch that you really does catch your attention, takes your breath away, but on the other hand, being too far to stray outside the herd and not moving upon it for that reason. A lot of people. I've had people approach me and basically say, I've really been looking at this one vintage watch. I was thinking about it. Then Hodinkee did an article and they jumped in price 300%. And my response is, I have zero pity for you, because that watch was always there. That watch was always cool. You just had to wait for other people to tell you it was cool, and you're paying the price.
Yeah, very good point.
But at the same point, I feel like it's good for people to get out and kind of experience like a little bit of everything too. Like for the longest time, my grail was the El Primero, and I had bought that, and I still don't feel like it was a waste of money, because I end up getting almost like what I had into it back. But at the same time, I was glad that I was able to experience it. I just found out I wasn't, I'm not a chronograph guy.
It's a check mark. It's basically a check mark watch.
Mm-hmm.
You check the box. Mm-hmm. You've experienced it.
Sorry, George, what were you going to say?
No, like at the beginning, what happens too is if you like a certain watch, like let's say a Tudor Black Bay, right? Heritage red, and it's kind of you'll go ahead and you'll buy something, and let's say at the time that you want it, it's just like it's out of your price range, so you'll buy like anything with a red bezel, like a Glycine Combat Sub, which is a good watch, but you'll find yourself buying a lot of watches to satisfy watches that you may want later on, and then you're stuck with a bunch of, because I know there's people that would buy them, but at the same time, it's just like you get used to wearing it, and so that's you'll buy a Submariner homage, and you'll buy like all these other watches trying to kind of satisfy an itch. And at least, you know, I mean, I've seen that happen to, you know, some people too. I was this close to buying a glycine just because I wanted the
You're freezing up, George.
my wife gave it to me for an anniversary, you know, the tutor. So but you know, that was that. But you know, I've seen that's I think a problem that people, or that's why people will get a ton of watches at, you know, at the beginning, is because they'll get a bunch of watches to satisfy an itch. And if you waited a little bit more, I think if it's a watch that's, you know, not too expensive, I think it is best to wait if you can. You know, I know life will punch you in the face and you'll, you know, for some reason you can't get what you want. Then yeah, by all means, but like, yeah, I think just it's best to have a lot of patience, and that'll keep you from getting a watch collection that'll get out of hand later on, I think.
Definitely.
Wesley has a good point there.
What's up?
Yeah, Wesley has a good point there. Like he can only truly experience a watch by buying it. It's really like the best way to experience a watch is really by owning it. Sometimes you can get as close as like trying it on in the AD and feeling out whatever detail that you have with it, but until you actually experience the watch, then that's when you truly are experiencing the watch. You have to wear it, you know?
Or and that's one thing I wonder too. Like where you're down at, Jason, in Aruba, do you have access to a lot? Is it mainly like ADs down there, or do you not really? Is one of those things you have to buy it before you try it?
You see, that's one of the biggest hurdles that I have with starting the channel, because I know for a fact that there's only a select few ADs here. I can like name like four really good ADs that carry like unique pieces. And those unique pieces that I'm looking at are the mainstream ones, like Rolex, Panerai. They have a Glasuta here, but I mean, they only have two pieces. JLCs. It's really limited. I have to go to Florida for me to experience the whole gamut of watches that I really want to see. But I mean, I'm going to be spending my whole vacation just raiding all of the ADs in Florida for me to experience that. And also realistically, I'm not going to be able to spend that much money. So I'm from the very beginning of the channel, I consciously relegated myself into looking at the aesthetics of the watches and reviewing those. And there's early on, even Dane had a very early criticism to me, because he has the perception that you have to handle the watch to be able to review it. And I would prefer that as well. But for me, who lives here in a small island, I don't have that luxury. So the best that I could do is really look at the minutest detail that I could see from the images and from the videos and try to dissect those as much as I can. But with a caveat that, of course, I cannot fully experience the graining of all the finishes, on how certain light play happens when you tilt a watch in a certain degree. That's something that really I miss. So the best that I could do is like read between the lines, read through the negative space, read through the proportions of the watch, and see what makes it tick, what makes it really something that appeals to people. And that's what the channel grew up into. It's really just based on the challenge that I have. But here's the thing. I don't know if you saw the Rado Captain Cook, the video that I made for that. That was a sneaky video that I made on the AD's display case. I had like, I think only three videos of B-roll there, and I asked asked the lady, hey, can I take a video so I could make an educated decision whether to buy it or not. Of course, I ended up not buying the watch, but I made the video anyway. But that's what I have to like go through. So to make these videos, I don't have the luxury to try on these watches.
I give you credit for having a channel when you're under those circumstances, you know, because otherwise it's if you did follow that rule, there wouldn't be much content, right?
Yeah, because I have what? How many? I think I have 26.
You just hit 1,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah, I'm at 1,150. I want 160.
Congrats, man. Guys, if you don't follow him, by the way, go on and follow him. Design Atelier. He does great channel, great editing too.
Thanks, and that's all because of you guys too. You know, promoting the channel and sending subscribers to me. But yeah, I mean, like what Jorge said, if I just stuck to what I could review physically, I mean, I only have like 26 videos because that's all I have. And actually, I'm reserving all of my watches now so that I have more content in the future. And that's
whereas like George here, you're in Chicago, so which everything's probably almost kind of closed right now. But when everything is open, you're probably kind of spoiled with choices, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, like right now, you know, unfortunately, like Omega and Rolex, those boutiques are actually on downtown. They're closed temporarily right now and boarded up. At least they were as of a couple weeks ago. But
yeah.
But even like just outside of boutiques, like ADs, you can just drive into, you know, I'm a few minutes away from Northwest Indiana. You go there, there's a couple of ADs, like a James and Sons and Alberts. I know the Alberts that's close by me. That one has like Breitling, Tag Heuer, I think Cartier. Like they have quite a few brands there, so you could get a good feel. They have Seiko too, and Citizen, but like and then at James and Sons, they're a little bit more higher end. I know they have Rolex, and I think that I forgot the other ones that they have too. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, you know, not counting downtown and the cool boutiques that they have down there. Yeah, I mean, being in this area, you could fill your day with some really nice watch, you know.
Yeah, the only ones we have here, I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, for those that don't know. But the only ones we really have here is a Reed's, which is in the mall. They you know, Breitling, Tag Heuer, a couple, I think maybe Rado, I think maybe, and a couple others, Raymond Wheel, stuff like that. And then we have a Rolex AD that's about 40 minutes away, which is kind of, you know, doable. I go there every once in a while. And they're kind of a family owned. But other than that, we really don't have any other like really watch stores, which is surprising because there are a lot of people with money in this area, I guess you could say. You would think there would be more, but we really don't have a lot because it's not a real big city per se. What about in your area, Clive?
I just have a couple of quick questions. Number one, how far are you from Elgin? Number two, are you handy with a crowbar?
Elgin's not too far, actually. I'm in a pretty good area where, I mean, I'm 30 minutes outside of probably downtown. So,
are you afraid of dogs? Never mind. We'll talk after the live stream.
must be talking about Mark there, huh?
No, not at all. Absolutely not. No. Break the mug.
Gotcha.
All right. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 within a 30-mile distance, and actually the big one is like 6 minutes from the house. 3 if I drive my MR2. We don't have that many, but most of the ones we have actually are Rolex. Then if I drive an hour and a half up to Tulsa and have access to 203, and if I drive hour and a half in the other direction, there's one in Weatherford, close to where I grew up. So, but actually I heard one of our ADs is losing their AD status for Rolex, and they're getting Omega instead. So right now, I think we just have one Omega AD in Tulsa. Otherwise, that's it. So
at least the Omega AD will actually have stuff in stock.
Yeah, limited edition, I'm sure. I wouldn't mind going to see what they have. I think they get tired of me awfully. I'd become the Oklahoma's answer to Don Haynes. The thing is, he will go into ADs or boutiques and literally try on everything in the store. And a lot of people in the Archieverse gives them a hard time for it, but I actually think that's the smart way to do it. Laying hands on the watches. And we're also talking about not having physical access to the watches, not just because of either A, coronavirus, or B, ADs not having them in stock, actually in the store. A lot of times we'll order something and take it home and realize, no, this isn't exactly what I thought it would be. I think that's exacerbating the situation.
Yeah. No, I know one thing, like, I've experienced as a collector, like, the more experienced I've gotten as far as trying stuff on, like, I kind of know what, even without buying it, what will work and what won't work with me size-wise now. Do you guys find that to be true too? Like if you wanted to buy one online, like, you don't think about it because you know kind of how it will fit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, as you go on, you find out what your sweet spot is, like with me, I think it's between 36 and probably 36 and 42, which leaning more towards maybe 36 to 40, but I could go 42. I wear watches bigger than that, but they don't look as good as the ones that are in the sweet spot. But that's another thing. I mean, you do, yeah. There's lots of watches that I've seen that it's like, man, I love that watch, and then you look at when you actually, but you see what size it is, and it's just like, okay, no, I can't wear that. Like the one that the watch that I absolutely love is the Bulova, the Lunar, the moon watch or whatever.
The moon watch.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it at an AD at a Bulova in AD, and I tried it on, and it looked so stupid on me. Like it was so huge, and I wanted that watch so bad, but it just, and I think it's cool, like when I see it on people that it does fit. But that's one watch that it's just like, man, I really wish I could have that watch. And I think now, because as you become a more educated collector, you're like, yeah, that doesn't look good on me. But there was a time, like at the beginning, I probably would have bought it, and and I'd walk around with it looking stupid. But and when I say stupid, like it really looked obscene on me. Like it was really bad.
It's kind of what you get used to too, though.
You know what it was with it was it's not even so much the size. It's like the lugs were, like it kind of had a flat. It doesn't curve as much as I would like it to. So, like I wear it and the lugs are, like sticking out flat. Like that's what made it worse.
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky. Like, even though I have a 7.5-inch wrist, it's pretty versatile for what I could wear. Like this little 34 millimeter, or I can throw on that Citizen, the Blue Angels, which, as you know, is a real big watch.
This is also one of the things that just really pisses me off about the watch community. 34 is too small. 34 is too small. It's a woman's watch. Why are you wearing a woman's watch for, dude? Step up to the plate and get a 40.
It doesn't even look like a 34, does it?
When I first saw pictures, I thought it was a 36.
Yeah, I mean, it wears more
not,
like a 38.
Yeah, 34 is not small. I think. I mean, shit, Muhammad Ali wore a Cartier, Cartier tank. You know.
Look, here's the thing. One, I have a Cartier tank, and it looks really small if I wear it on its own. Wear it with a bracelet right beside it, then you'll see that it kind of works. But the thing is, that's because of the tank. The tank's strap is almost as thick as the watch itself.
As the watch itself, right?
Yeah. So and since like they have those beads also that's in for men, you could wear those without any issues.
Yeah, because it'll add like visual weight to it, right? And I could see that.
Well, it's like them playing around with the bracelet size on the new Submariners. Makes it more when they from 20 to 21, it made it look more proportional, I think.
Yeah.
Clam Walker is saying he loves his 3670 Seiko 5s. Which if that's what you like collecting, then so be it. You know, if you like collecting all kind of Seiko 5s,
I have one
collect what you love, right?
That's my backup watch. I have that in my
Seiko 5.
Yeah, a Seiko 5, a really old one. I bought it like $25 in eBay because I just love that it's like all slate. It looks the dial looks almost the same as the case color. It's all banged up, it's all scratched up, but it's my reserve watch in case that I forgot, to wear a watch, and I pull it up in my bag and just wear it.
It's your backup watch?
Yeah, it's a backup watch. Yeah.
Beep. Beep.
That has happened before. Beep. Before I forgot my watch at home. Like, I was so much in a rush. I just like pull it off, and it's like a small one. I think it's like 34 also.
But the Cartier tank, though, that's literally from a different era.
Yeah.
And actually, one of the most elder statesmen in my profession, one of the oldest criminal defense guys, he wears a Cartier tank and doesn't think twice about it. But back in the day, though, if you made the same functionality to a smaller package, that was more of a testament to your designing and construction skills. Larger watches were cheaper, basically.
That's true.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
That Art Deco vibe to it. It's more like the upper class feel, so to speak.
Yeah, as his dress watch, my dad used to, and my dad was like he was a smaller guy, but he had like big hands and big wrists. My dad was a body and fender guy his whole life, so he had like pretty big wrists, and he used to wear a Rado. God, I forgot what it is, but it was a square
one. Yeah.
A really tiny, and he used to look good on them, and plus, I think plus too, like if you have the confidence, you could just wear,
exactly. That was
wear whatever you want. Like it's just like I don't care.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If you look, you already referenced Ali earlier. Ali is like the quintessential example of confidence, right?
Right.
He could pull off whatever. He could pull off whatever. He could say whatever he wanted to say, and he could back it up sometimes. Sometimes, not all the time. But you know what?
Yeah.
The way he speaks is like he's 100% confident all the time, even though he could pull off like only half of it at the time. But it's
back in the day, try telling him he was wearing a girl's watch.
That's why.
Yeah, I wouldn't dare try to tell him that.
Right.
Then let us see who whines like a girl after this. He could pull it off. But the thing is, like right now, let's say if I wear the Cartier tag, the thing is, that's not even all original. I know for a fact that that's like probably a Franken watch, but I don't care. I really like the way it looks, the color, and also the bracelet. I know it's an aftermarket bracelet, but it's so nice. And the thing is, I don't care. I just wanted to wear it, and whenever it's its time or it's day to wear it, I would put on my brown shirt. I would put on my brown shoes, like to match it up. I just want to wear it, and even if I ding it like on my table or a doorpost, so what? It's my scratch.
Now, did you also have brown pants and an armband?
I do have brown pants, yes. I know where to get that, Clive.
my ultimate dress watch, the dress watch that I mean, once if I were to get this watch, I will not look at another dress watch ever again. Is
That's what you say now, Jorge. That's what you say.
Is a JLC Reverso.
You know,
if I were to get a JLC Reverso, I will never buy another dress watch. I'll look at other watches, but dress
that's
watch.
on my eventual to get list as well.
When you say
right now,
when you say you'll never do something, let me be completely honest with you. When you say that, we're not laughing with you.
Well, I would, and the only reason I say that is because like it's such an expensive watch. I probably, I'm very selective when it comes to expensive, the higher end watches. So, here I go. I'm already going back on what I would say, but like the other, like another watch that I love that's a smaller watch. I think it's a beautiful watch is a Hamilton Ventura. And that's not a big watch. I like the original one.
Yeah, the smaller one, not the big one.
Yeah. And, back in the day, Elvis used to wear one. But to me, like that's that's another dress watch that I would like to have. But yeah, if I got a JLC Reverso, as far as dress watches, that would be it.
The good thing about the Reverso too, though, you can kind of wear it casually and get away with it as well. You
turn it around and you wear it as a bracelet. Like.
Sure, why not? It's your watch. You can do that.
Yeah.
Or unless looking at another time zone, if you had a duo face.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, I love those. Yeah.
I had one, but the trouble is it became redundant after I got my Kalpa hebdomadaire.
What now? Sorry, I'm not familiar with that.
Parmigiani Flourier Kalpa hebdomadaire by Michael Parmigiani.
Oh,
I'm not familiar with that one.
Familiar with that. Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. Spectacular watch, and I picked them up before they started getting really popular. Thankfully.
And the thing is about like the smaller pieces like this, like the vintage, even there's a lot of great buys if you look around compared to a lot of the newer ones, and you can actually get them. You can get good brands at a decent price if you like know where to look, anyways.
Well, what was funny was when Timex released the Marlin, when they re-released the Marlin, they re-released it, and what was it going for? $200, I think, like 200, yes,
180, something like that.
And I had just bought an original Timex Marlin on eBay. I think I won that auction for like, I think $35, and it looked identical. It looked close enough to the reissue, and I was like, at the time, I was like, why are people buying? Like, just go on eBay and buy yourself an original one.
Or military watches or field watches.
Yes, exactly.
You're paying hundreds of dollars for a watch that pays homage to the actual when you go and get the actual thing.
Yeah, very true, very true.
Definitely.
But yeah, going back to consolidation, the main
topic. Yes,
it's easy, or let's just say it's an option for most of us or most of you to sell it off, because that's how you're going to really cut down on the collection, because you're going to you can put it up on eBay, in Craigslist, or you can just, at the least likelihood of occasions, give it out to family members or friends. But that's the problem that I run through here, because it's such a small island. if, like, say for example, the Tiso, I was trying to sell the Tiso for months, and nobody knows what the Powermatic 80 goes for. And when I sell it for like almost like half the price, nobody would still buy it because, hey, well, why is it so expensive? They're all into guests and fashion watching. It's tougher here to narrow down the collection, and I've almost like gone to like having it as an option to raffle it off to viewers, which maybe I would like do in the near future as well, because there's no point of me like getting rid of it because I couldn't get rid of it in the first place.
Yeah.
You know? And then my collection would continue to grow because I mean I have like all of these watches that I want. So it's really trying to find the tread the fine line between collecting and maintaining that collection.
You live in a Caribbean paradise. I live in the middle of Tornado Alley. I'm not crying for you, Argentina.
It's very clear that you don't pity me at all.
So like what's a bare minimum if one day made a choice to just go, okay, what's a bare minimum number that you would get down to?
Yeah, I've heard of that question before. For me personally, I've thought of that as well. I think at least 7. I think that's my thing. At least I have a rotation per week, because I've learned that, especially not last month, 2 months ago, when we tried random robs, like 1 month challenge.
Yeah,
my goodness, that killed me. Because random rob dropped that challenge, and then I thought about it. I said, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna accept that. Okay, sure. But then when the day came, I forgot. And then, okay, oh my goodness, I forgot. So I got stuck with my paddy tuna, and I had to wear that for the rest of the month. Okay, at first I could, but then after a week, okay, it's starting to like really really monotonous now for me. So at least that's where I understood. Okay, at least a week. So that's my threshold.
That's
so
that's the beginning symptom of Mark Goldberg syndrome.
Very true, very true. But that's the knee jerk answer to that. It's probably more or probably less, but right now I don't have anything in the radar that's really trying to pull me and.
Well, you've already got some pretty great pieces, don't you? Between the sub and what else do you have? You have the don't you have the Speedy? You said.
Yeah, I have a Mark II Speedy, which is like
original or redesign.
1969, the 1969.
Nice.
And the thing is, like that one, I almost sold that because we needed the money at some point, and then my wife told me, "Look, I'm not into watch collecting." That's what she said. I'm not into watch collecting, but I know you're going to regret it if you sell it, because you're not gonna get another Omega of that caliber for that price. So yeah, I just held off, and I'm very happy that she gave me that advice. I held it off, and I still have it.
My wife's talked me off the ledge too sometimes when I'll be like, when we could use some dough, and it's just like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna sell my, blah, whatever, and she'll say, she says the same thing. You're gonna regret it because, it's either it was a good deal or it was a watch that you rarely see, something like that. And I'm glad that I have her to do that, because I know I'd regret it later on. But like at first I used to think a number that I could pare down to was 4. And then like I got to thinking, and it was like, man, I can't. So I'm thinking now probably a bare number is probably like maybe 8, because at first the reason why I got down to 4 was an everyday casual.
Mhm.
So you have 4 right now, or is that what you mean, or you
No,
want?
no, and I mean like the number in my head. So when I asked you what's a bare minimum number that you think you could get down to, at first I thought, okay, I think I could get down to 4 if I really wanted to, and my logic to get down to 4 was an everyday, like casual, a weekend or sports watch, a dress watch, and a G-Shock. And then I got to thinking, and I was like, man, there is no way I could get down to just 4 watches. So the reason why I think I could get to maybe 8 is it would be 2 of that category. So, two casual watches, 2 weekend or sports watches, 2 dress watches, and 2 beater, whatever, we're going to refer to them as 2 of those. So I'm I want to say that maybe I could get down to 8. But then that number probably would grow to like 10. So, but I think maybe 8, if I wanted to get down to, if I really, really wanted to, or if I had to, I think 8 is a good number to get down to.
How about you, Clive? If you sold everything, what would be a comfortable number to consolidate to?
Maybe even 2 or 3, possibly, but one would have to be a completely fuck off watch.
Okay, like a gold Daytona or something.
I'm thinking like a Lange 1, possibly.
Okay, that's nice. I feel like 8 to 10 for me would probably be a good solid number. Like right now, I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at. Like I said, I have mainly a lot of crappers, as some people call them. I do have the Rolex that I wear a lot, so I'm kind of happy right there. So I figure 8 to 10, and then I'll probably, if I decide to get more, I'll probably get rid of some more. I feel like, but that could change.
Reconsider that.
Do you think any of you guys? Do you think you could get down to 1 watch?
That'd be hard to do.
And if so, what would that watch be?
No, I don't think I can. I'm a horological Mormon.
So you couldn't, if and anyone else like Chris or Jason, you think you guys could get down to 1 watch? And if so, what would that watch be?
I probably could, but it's probably a watch that I already own, the sub. Because that one, that one, it's not because of the watch, but because of what I experienced with it. Because I bought it as a memory of my achievement of this really big project. It's the biggest project I've ever headed. It's like a ton of headache. It's like managing people from all over the world and egos, and we were able to pull off that project. And because of that, I was able to get my wife to stay home and pay off some of our debts and even get that sum. And because of that, and that gave me the confidence to do everything else after that. I mean, I became a manager after that. I became more confident with my decisions. And that's the one watch that I probably will not sell, and I could live with it for the rest of my life. I have everything. I have the boxes and all that. So if my boy wants to sell it off one day, it's up to him. But for me, I'm gonna enjoy that, and I've been enjoying that ever since. And that sub was really special. And every time, and that's true. I mean, sometimes we read it in the magazines, or we read it from Houdinki or what have you. But when you actually experience that there's a memory attached to that one specific object. It may be a watch, or it may be like a wall clock, or like a pot of flowers or what have you, I mean, you're going to hold on to it. And that's just how we are as human beings, I guess. We hold on, we have a sentiment, we attach this sentiment to a specific thing. It could be very expensive or it could be like very mundane, but it's your memory. You cannot remove that. And sometimes even if it's broken, you'd still continue to wear it because it's not the watch, it's the memory that reminds you of that piece.
Based on that story, if you ever wanted to, if you ever thought about getting rid of that watch, I think I'd be upset for you. I would try to convince you to not get rid of it.
I'd probably gone crazy if that happened, because even my boy knows that it's going to be his. He already knows it.
What about you, Chris?
I don't know. Probably my holy grail watch, the VC, the overseas, the Blue Dial 300 that Bruce just got.
Okay,
I would say Bruce Williams.
So you would get down, if you could get down to one watch, that would be the watch. And you feel like you could wear just that one watch?
Probably not. Now, if we go by basically in the comments what they're saying, of course, G-Shocks don't count. Like if I could still wear G-Shocks to work or whatever, I could probably do that. Because I could wear the VC out, and a lot of people don't know that you're wearing like $15,000-$16,000 on the wrist. You know, unless they're a watch person, they won't know. It doesn't shout like Rolex or AP.
Yeah, and I'm not counting the watches that I like inherited from my dad, or like I'm just talking about if I had never gotten into this hobby, and I was only able to get one watch, I probably would. I could, and the watch for me would probably be the Rolex Explorer.
Okay.
If I would get down to one watch, I could probably buy that watch, or I could probably get that watch, and I wouldn't look at another watch after that if I had an Explorer. Now, and a G-Shock. When that I would wear like
that's two.
Yeah, but remember G-Shocks don't count, so that's what. But yeah, that's what I think and if I did get down to one watch and it was the Explorer, I'd have to swear off YouTube because I would look at different videos and new watches and be like, oh, here I go again. So
Instagram too.
Right.
Can't do Instagram either.
But I think
you guys think that's a lot of the problem, like YouTube and Instagram? Like a lot of people see that stuff constantly, and then they're like, "Oh, I want to buy this. I want to buy this. I want to, I want to add this."
Well, to me, I mean, I've grown to accept it that there are pieces out there that are really nice, really beautiful. It's like a masterpiece, works of art, and I know for sure that I'm not gonna get it in my lifetime. I mean, I've pretty much accepted those.
Name one.
The Lange one.
Okay.
That one for sure. Like any minute repeater, probably I won't be able to afford. And quite honestly, if I had enough money, I would probably spend it somewhere else. I just know myself that that's too expensive for me. But again, I mean, I've said before also, expensive is relative to one's income, annual income. I mean, and that annual income can change, and situations can change also. And we're not talking about like winning the lottery here. Like maybe like some sort of big offer comes your way and you, in a span of 10, 20 years, you move up the ladder, so to speak.
And then leaves you an inheritance.
Or that too. But, I mean, I'd probably be investing on something else that would be a more so grow the money more than watches. I mean, unless I'm going to open like a watch store or something, but even that's not gonna net me all of the enough money to buy one. Probably lend, yes, but not own one. No.
Well, even like with the watch that I said I would want to get down to, or if I could, like I'm with you, Jason. Like I'll look at Instagram and I'll look at, stuff like that, and I'll look at, and I have accepted it. Like, okay, I might not get that one. Like the Explorer, I might not get it. But with me, it's like, because I have 2 kids that are really young, and so like, everything right now is like, okay, I have to, like whenever I do get like any extra dough, I sock it away, like for that, like, I'm gonna need it for the kids or something like that. And so you're right, things may change, and because things have changed up to this point in my life where I thought, Chris, I mean, for years you and I talked, and I never thought I would get a Tudor Black Bay, and I wound up getting it. I never thought I would get an Omega Seamaster. I wound up getting it. So life is crazy. Life is just weird, and crazy things happen. But so barring any of those things, yeah, I mean, now I'll look at Instagram and think, okay, well, that's a nice Seiko, or that's a nice, I could get that. And that's also why the collection has grown, is because, videos and stuff like that. But like, yeah, like I'll look at the Rolex Explorer and be like, I'm probably, there's a better chance that I won't get it than, if I get it, because, Jason, like you said, money may come, but it's just like, God, once you're there, it's like, God, do I really want to spend this much on a watch? It's like, this is crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, here's the thing also. I mean, Chris asked if that Grail watch, right? That's what you asked. It also boils down to what we define as a Grail watch, because to me, a Grail is like a holy Grail. It almost is non-existent. You cannot attain it. If you can attain it, for me, then it's not a Grail watch, because you can have it. You can.
That's true.
You can save up money, and then, like, say for example, save up like 5 years worth of saving monthly, and you can get that Tudor Black Bay. That's nothing. I mean, even my Submariner, I can get that in a span of 3 or 4 years. Just save up my money, save up a few bucks every month, skip going to McDonald's a few times a week, and I'll have that in 4 years, and that's attainable, But a Grail to me is something that's really, really that far, almost mythical. That doesn't even exist. I could just appreciate it, yes, for sure, but I know for a fact that I'm not gonna get it.
That's true, though.
I'm happy about that fact already, that I can just admire it from afar. I know that there's one person out there that probably owns it, and I'm happy enough just to meet him.
Yeah. Well, like in all honesty, you're right. A Grail by definition should be like, okay, Paul Newman's Daytona.
Yeah, it's
Paul Newman's actual Daytona. Like, that is what technically a Grail should be, right? Like, right. Or Steve McQueen's, Submariner, or something along those lines. But that, I mean, no, you make a good point. A Grail is, a lot of people, I think we just say Grail just because it's hard to get. Yeah. But a Grail is by definition something that's, unobtainable. Well,
if you're the actual definition of Grail or Holy Grail, the one that Jesus Christ drank, I mean, he's not gonna have, like, if you look back at the times back in the day, he's not gonna have like a gold cup. It's probably just a mundane cup.
It's a wood. It's a piece of wood. Right. It was made of wood. So if in real life they say it was made of wood, so
yeah, it's probably just that. So
right.
You never know.
Well, I actually bothered while you guys were talking to look at the actual definition of the word Grail, because they have this thing called the internet. But so the first one talks about the Holy Grail, the reference to the cup that Christ used at the Last Supper. Second definition, a thing that is being earnestly pursued or sought after.
So it's the pursuit, yeah.
So like the VC for me, like it's there, but it's like way in the future there. Like
Right.
I may at some point be able to get it.
Once you get
but
it,
as of right now, no.
But earnestly pursued or sought after. So by definition, though, once you get it, it quits becoming a grail.
Then yeah. So are you gonna set another grail? No.
I mean, after that, probably would. That's what happens to a lot of people. Like, we don't think, just like I never thought I would get the El Primero. And, I got that. I remember talking to me, I've known George for years. Remember talking to him about getting the El Primero and never thought I'd get that. And then, the more you get into it,
that was one of those, like, when you said you sold it, I was like, what? That's crazy. Like, you chased after it for years. Like,
but I guess I'm coming at it like an artistic standpoint, because even when I was like younger, I've always admired art and how things are made. And once I understood it, I have a profound understanding about it and a profound appreciation about it. And I'm happy with that. I don't have to get it. I don't have to like own it. But if I own it, like, that's nice. But if I understand it, if I could share that enthusiasm with others, and I'm happy enough with that.
Yeah. I also have some watches that like an Explorer. I also have some watches in my head that if I were to never get the Explorer, then I would be happy with. I would still be ecstatic with like a Rolex OP or an Omega Aquaterra. It's like, okay, God, I really gave it my best. I really tried to get it, but I'm more than happy with my, OP or, like I said, an Aquaterra, something. So I do have, although that's a grail, I do have some watches along the way that it's just like, okay, I didn't get it, but this is pretty awesome too, And then actually, like when you look at people that, and I know this is probably getting a little corny, but like, somebody with less may look at my watch collection and be like, man, that's something that I really want to have. So it's all relative too, what I mean?
What about you, Clive? No, I know you've got the Holy Trinity. Now, somebody coming from having the Holy Trinity, is there a watch that you find that is kind of just up there to where you kind of think you might get it, or one that you may not reach?
I have ones that I vaguely think of, like something from Curry Von Lannen or, Richard W. Smith, but I know there's no effing way. There's no effing way. So do I have a grail rush right now? No, I do not. You have to be aware of it and make steps, earnestly try to seek it. And, it's the difference between hope and faith. Faith is hope reinforced by action.
Yeah. That's another biblical scripture there. Very nice.
That's another what?
Biblical scripture.
And then Average Joe Watch Reviews. He's got another good channel. I don't know if you guys watch him. He's in the comments here. It says unobtainable is subjective to time. What is unobtainable today may be totally obtainable tomorrow. That's true. Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
I may get, a career advance in my job where I'm making more money and able to afford more,
That's true. And we are having a COVID strike, so really all I have to do is sharpen a couple of shovels.
Man,
that's true though. I mean, Chris, like I told you, I was in situations where it was like, I know I'm never getting that watch. I know I'm never getting it. And then sometimes stuff happens, things happen your way, and it's just like, oh, look at me, I mean,
definitely. And then Bruce is saying, never settle, go for your grail. You never know when you might just get it. This is true. Coming from somebody, he got his blues he probably never thought he was going to get that call, but he got the call for the Blues, and he made it happen.
Yep.
Oh, nice. I was good
And then Bud the Stud saying he goes for his Grails. But yeah, guys, you guys got anything else to go in on? We're cutting in a little over an hour here.
That was fun. It was already fun. I mean, whenever class is on, it's always fun.
Whenever what?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry?
Sure.
Whenever you're on, it's always fun. I mean, you always have quick, witty comments and all that.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I've enjoyed myself immensely here.
I was surprised
got off topic too, but we kind of got off topic, but it was still a good conversation though.
That was nice.
Good combo.
I
was surprised I beat you to the Dukes of Hazzard reference there earlier in Archie's stream.
God damn it, yeah. I'm ashamed that you did that. Places to go, boy. That's just some good old boys. Never mean it.
But yeah, guys, we're going a little over an hour. I'm sure Clyde's probably ready to head to bed. And George and everybody else too. What time is it where you're at? You're probably on the same time frame as us, right, Jason?
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock here. Yeah.
I'm good for another 20 minutes.
Okay, we could do another 20 minutes if you guys want to.
No problem.
It is 9. It's 9:10 here.
Okay, yeah, it's 10:11 here. I mean, I'll be up. I don't know about you guys. And then Average Joe Watch Reviews, he's saying Minute Repeater is such a cool complication. He's going for Tourbillon personally.
You know, you could get a tourbillon now for like those Chinese tourbillon for like what, $600 if you really want one.
Yeah, the one I think Paul Thorpe is pushing, right?
And those are seagull. But again, I mean,
Producer Michael.
I've got great respect for the seagull, for that seagull movement.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? The Messina Lab Uniracer, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
$3,500 for a Solito, really?
Yeah, that's a little pricey.
That's too much.
But,
I saw that too, but
no.
But for the price, no.
But on the other hand, like I said, Kickstarter, of course, okay, I did a Kickstarter watch, sorry, but it's like an Aramar Long Beach chronograph, and it uses the seagull movement, which of course the Chinese bought it from Venus. They bought the 175 movement. They didn't copy it; they bought it outright. So the Swiss said, "Here's all the plan, here's all the dies. Knock yourselves out, and we'll take your money. We'll come up with a new movement." Because back then they weren't flush with cash like they are today, but that movement for that money is, it is a spectacular value, I think, right now. And I kind of wish Aramar had a little bit more effort into the dial. It was a little sterile.
Yeah, I mean, those movements, they can offer like for really cheap because they manufacture like probably like thousands of it, and even the every smaller part that they're going to, for sure. That's the Chinese MO. I mean, it's nothing bad, but that also kind of loses the appeal. If something is like really too mass produced and the quality control's not there, and you lose the human touch to the movement or to the piece, then it's kind of watered down. But I do have respect for that. Like you're right. I mean, that seagull movement is like, it's the real deal.
The story behind Aramar, though, is that they served as a go-between between a lot of traditional watch companies, like Europe and North America, and the Chinese manufacturers. So they had eyes and boots on the ground in the plants. So they, not to mention, after it was even assembled, it wasn't drop shipped to the customer directly. It was sent to their watchsmith in the Netherlands, and the watchsmith actually went through and did a very extensive quality control check in addition to what was being done at the factory. And the thing is, a couple of times I've took pictures of the back of that movement and just posted it, and people are like, "What the hell is that? Is that an FP Jour?" Now, a skilled jeweler, on the other hand, who had actually worked on the originals, the 175s, looked it over the loop, and they said, the quality's not bad. It's not quite up to Swiss, but it wouldn't take much to get up there. The what makes labor, the ever increasing cost of labor, is what's making watches, well, is maybe not the primary, but a strong secondary force as to what's making these complex mechanical watches more expensive. That's why Omega had to, quit making the 321 movement and make the 861 movement. It was cheaper to manufacture, cheaper to produce. It didn't quite. They could hire watchsmiths with a little bit less skill than what was required on the prior movement. But it seems like if the Chinese could just get their act together and just up their quality control a little bit.
Yeah, but you see that's also the thing there that you mentioned with Omega. I mean, why did Omega do that? Of course, for a few percentage in the margin, in when it comes to the business. But the thing with the Chinese is, coming from a personal experience and knowing how they think, or in a way, experiencing the way they think. I mean, they're pretty much happy with a smaller margin, so long as they can get the business running. And many times, if you think that way, you would also skip in the quality control. That's good enough, because what matters is we get this done as quick as possible and as many as possible. And
cheaply.
That has been changing in the past years. Maybe because the older folks are not transferring this kind of mentality to the new generation of Asian people, but that has been the MO of us Asians. Just because I myself is guilty of that. Like when I buy something, I would buy 10 stuff in Amazon and just send it here in Aruba and then have a quick buck, But because the margin is the second to my business venture. But with many people, that's not good business. That's not a good business ideal. You have to think about your margin. You have to think about your promotion, your marketing. And that's something that, the Chinese don't really think as much. That translates to the quality too.
Translates to quality, but again, one of the reasons is that Airmar had people overlooking production on the ground.
So from the leather, too.
But it seems like Seagull could basically take 20 of the most experienced people and said, "Okay, we're working on this project. This is the detail that we expect for the finishing and the fit and the finish to be." And the Chinese labor, even skilled Chinese labor, because they've had people down there that's been doing it for a while, would have such a tremendous advantage as opposed to Switzerland or England or whatnot.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how Swatch does it with their machines. Do you think they would be better off to buy machines, or are there machines like that would be able to make the movement, and they would just have people kind of controlling the machines, kind of like they do in the Swatch factories?
Or you could say Rolex. A lot of the movement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Rolex has done that.
Yeah, they're still hand finishing. They're still, they'll still have skilled people doing the final work, at least the inspection, quality control. But it just seems like if Seagull just got their act together a little bit and just instead of the $300, 1963, let's just say they came up with a $2,500 chronograph with a great face, a great design, and just put great finish, and just put a little bit more quality control into the movement.
Yeah, I mean, even that 1963 you mentioned, because I know I did a watch tour, or I participated in a watch tour with that, and when I got it, I turned it to see the movement, and I was like, I mean, I didn't look at it with a loop or anything like that, but just looking it over, I was like, man, this is a really nice movement for. Yes. It was decorated really nice, and I was like, wow, this is actually really. I actually, because of that tour, I actually want one of those. And it's actually a really badass watch. I like it. And so I'm assuming that
And that's a column wheel, for Christ's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, are they the same ones that you can get on AliExpress? Like, I know Mark over Long Island sells them for like right under $300, but are those Chinese copies of the Chinese watches on AliExpress the same ones you can get for like $175 or $200? I think.
Well, Chinese copies of Chinese watches,
know?
by definition, be Chinese watches.
Right, you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Do they not? Well, I'm sure if they could like rip their competitors off and shave a few bucks off, they probably would.
Yeah.
I mean, they copy, FW9, FW91s for Christ's sake. I mean,
definitely. That's it not. And then Average Joe Watch Reviews was saying that quality control with Seiko lacks, for instance, yet no effect to brand loyalty. And that's true. There's a bunch of Seikoholics. And I love saying George there's wearing the Seiko shirt.
Yeah.
but that's a point there to make, though, because like what Clive mentioned, actually Seiko is pretty much doing the same. Yeah, but what differentiates the Chinese from Seiko? I mean, they have factories, they have manufacturing grounds. What's the difference between them? It's really the quality still is. Oh, wait. Here's the question: is the quality of Seiko comparable to those Chinese that you could get in AliExpress?
I mean, I think it's pretty absurd. I mean, as much as I love Seiko, as much as I love Seiko, I think it's crazy that, you buy a Seiko online or whatever, and you still have to hope that when you receive it, everything lines up, and you consider you're lucky if it does, and if it doesn't, you're just like, well, for the majority of us, it's like, well, that's Seiko, and people don't accept it.
And they're no different from the Chinese. The only difference is they have like a heritage to back them up. And like the Chinese, they have like so many different brands that they slap on their own names and whatnot. But Seiko has just one singular vertical production of their own name and brand, right? But if you look at the piece itself, is it really comparable? It probably is. I mean, that again, that goes back to my limitation personally. I've never handled one of these Chinese watches. I've almost really wanted to buy one. It just takes so long to get here, like 6 or 8 weeks. But I've never compared them to Seiko as of yet. But like, say for example, like this watch, the Islander, I can readily compare this to my Seiko. And it's an upgrade. It's definitely better. I could see from finishing itself. You can eyeball it. You can see the difference. But what about these Chinese? I mean, if they have such a, or could they catch up to Seiko? Maybe they could, but there has to be one of them that matches Seiko in heritage or in quality or in publicity.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, do you think a lot of their quality control issues stems from the fact that they produce so many? Like they produce them probably by like when they had the SKX style that's discontinued, but they produce like 300,000 at a time, probably say.
I think that's I think that's what it is, because still, where do you get these Seiko parts? It's still coming from Japan, and some of them in Thailand. Is that I don't quote me on that.
Majority of the parts probably are honestly from China. More than likely.
Yeah.
Even a lot of the Swiss watches use a lot of parts from China.
Yeah.
And that's I've been told that by various different brands.
But Jason's right though. Like if you're having the same quality, like what makes Seiko different than a Chinese company if the quality is the same? Like I said, you buy a Seiko and you have to hope that everything lines up on it. I mean, that's it's crazy.
Here's the thing, because we put also the emphasis on hand finishing. How many Seikos do we know have hand finishing?
mainly just a lot of the Grand Seikos that I know of.
I was about
Right.
to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can't even apply hand finishing as a marker for both the Chinese and Seiko. So what's the difference, really?
Right.
Some
But
of
at
the
least
it's,
if the
Go ahead,
quality's
George.
the same, if the quality's the same, at least you're paying less money for a Chinese company for a Chinese watch than a Seiko.
Mhm.
And the quality's the same. It's like, well, then why am I buying Seiko then? Like,
Well, here's the thing. If you ask me personally, if I saw this like the San Martin, I don't know if you've heard of San Martin you
Mhm.
could buy one from AliExpress. What would I buy? A San Martin tuna or a Seiko tuna? I would still go with the Seiko. You know why? Because I know the brand.
exactly. Exactly. But I'm in the same boat because I'll be like, and I've been lucky that every Seiko that I have has lined up. Even this thing, like, so I've been lucky, but like when I see sometimes that people are like, that stuff doesn't line up, I'll be like, oh, that's crazy. I'm not going to buy a Seiko if I have to spend all this money, and then I have to hope that it gets here. And so, like, I will, let's say, swear off Seiko, and then I'll be on the computer and I'll be on my phone and I'll be like, damn, that looks badass, man. I have to get that one. Like, so it's the same thing. It's because you fall for it. I mean, and it's the brand. You're right. It's the brand. So it's just like, well, it's a Seiko.
The brand. What do you think, Live?
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I had access to a 37 millimeter Grand Seiko. It was like small baby gets wiped 235 or 245 or something like that. And yeah, the bracelet wasn't quite up in quality. It was decent. It was it did the job, but not the rest of the watch. But compared, when you look at the quality, even the movement, even the dial, it was one of their plain Jane beginner dials. Of that Grand Seiko, I have to admit, I was terribly, terribly impressed with it. And for less than the cost of a Submariner, I mean, even of an OP, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, you can get a decent one for what, like $2,000 to $3,000 US, I would say. Like a decent Grand Seiko.
Of course, I've always heard the ones they make for the Japanese domestic market, like the small baby gets white, SBGW. I've always heard that that the quality for the ones they make for their own market is a little bit higher than what they export.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
And
you
they usually get a lot of the
experienced
better stuff over there too. Sorry, Jason, go ahead.
No, I mean, I was gonna ask Clive if he's seen the difference personally
Between what?
between a domestic Grand Seiko to an international Grand Seiko.
No, I've only had hands-on experience with the JDM.
But like, even like, I've seen that, like, those YouTube videos where it's like, those videos of inside the Grand Seiko factory, and like when you see what they go through and all that. I mean, I have to admit, the finishing on those Grand Seikos is like, that's on another planet, man. Those things are beautiful.
Yeah, I remember there's like a video. I think it's Watchfinder. He would like have that like glorious macro on some of the Swiss watches, even a Patek, and you could see some blemishes there. You could see some imperfections in the paints and in the finishing. But when they focus on the Grand Seiko, those indices and those hands are just like immaculate, and they're just so straight, and even the underside is polished. You can't even imagine that even the underside of the hands are polished.
Yeah. Somebody, I forgot who it was, did macro shots of a Rolex, I think it was a Submariner, and I don't know if it was on YouTube or Instagram, or on the, or I'm sorry, not on Instagram, on the Facebook group.
Mm.
But I'm pretty sure it was a video, and they did macro shots of the hands on a Rolex.
Was it
And it was
AB
the same
over
thing.
at Watch Collecting Strategy?
It could have been, and like there was, when you looked at it, there was so much blemishes on the hands that it was like, wow, really? Like I never expected it. Like it was, I'll put it to you this way. I don't know if this watch was an outlier or whatever, but it was pretty bad where it was like, wow, I didn't expect that.
I know my buddy James, you guys seen him on the channel before, Greg Gambino. He said he tried on the Snowflake in person, and he said that thing is gorgeous, like drop dead gorgeous. He said that's probably one he'll eventually buy at some point. And then Dane, Saline Driver, he's got one, so I'll be able to see it. I'm going down to Florida. It won't be till this coming summer for a wedding, but I'm close to where he's at, and I'll be able to see one finally too. So I'm definitely
the polishing on those Grand Seikos is like so immaculate that it looks like it could shine in a completely dark room. That's how beautiful it, those are. But I mean,
from what I heard, the grade of polishing, you could actually eyeball it. The more that you see blacks or shadows, that means the better the polishing, because it's even absorbing light at that point.
Okay,
that's what really makes those Zaratsu finishes like really, really mythical, legendary.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I noticed they're even getting attention of. I don't know if you guys saw the latest video with producer Michael and Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary's even got a few Grand Seikos now. So,
really?
I mean, that tells you he can afford anything. He's buying Grand Seiko.
And then on top of that, not only the polishing, but like the sweep of the spring drive. It's mesmerizing. I could sit there and watch it it's just when you combine those two things.
We're watching videos here. You can just imagine to see it in person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
one of the you see in person.
I have to admit, though, I have a 4K TV, and like when Govberg or Watchbox does something, the quality, their video quality is so good. As I'll flip the TV to 3D, put on the glasses, and it is a treat with those close-ups.
Man,
yeah.
No, that's something. I'd like to experience that.
Yeah, like I said, AB, he's really good at getting really good macro shots from Watch Collecting Strategy. Yeah. If you guys watch his videos,
okay, yeah,
he does real good editing on those. And he's had a couple Grand Seikos in, I believe, too. So if you guys want to catch some really good close-ups, go check out his.
I'll check it out. When we get off of here, I'm gonna subscribe to Jason's channel.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out myself.
Yeah, he does good work. He does his research too. You can tell.
It's not perfect. Like so many people burned me at that Moser streamliner because I used I saw that information somewhere, but then when I went to the website, it's not based on 70s design. It's about 30s design. Streamliner trains back in the okay, I'll do better.
Yeah, it's like if I've been wrong plenty of times in my videos. You just gotta, take it and admit when you're wrong.
There's always the one super expert out there saying, "Well, actually."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm not gonna take down that video and upload another one. Maybe I'll make a new video when I actually have the Moser in my hands.
So the streamliner, yeah.
I love that. It looks nice.
I deeply love my Mayu with the small seconds.
The Mayu, yeah. Like, I mean, I've grown to appreciate Moser after making that video, really, because I had to do so much research on it, even though I still made mistakes. But it's really nice when you dig into a company and what it does compared to what other Swiss companies are doing. It gives you a profound appreciation, not just for the watch, but for the brand itself. It's really nice. and I love it when they parodied when was it? 3 years ago they made this like parody diver
with the Pepsi bezel.
Yeah, the Pepsi bezel.
Yeah.
They had the guts to do that.
Yeah, but they quickly took it down. But yeah, you love the way they just give the finger to all their competitors.
Yeah, I love that Apple the Alpine watch, was it? The one that looks like an Apple Watch. That looks nice though.
Oh yeah, actually there was one here locally. I can't remember how much it was. It wasn't.
Forgot what the name was. I think it's like some sort of Alpine something.
Right.
But it's nice. I love that. That's how you do like a parody like done right. I love it.
Nice.
All right.
That's
See you
awkward
guys.
part,
Everybody.
sign that we should like head off.
I think
Yeah. I'm probably about ready to call it a night myself here, guys. I appreciate you guys for
It was a
coming
good
on.
talk, everybody. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for
pleasure.
Thanks for
Yes, sir.
listening to all my rants and rambling.
Thanks for coming on, man. Everybody in the comments, thanks for joining in too, guys. We will catch you on the next one.
Be well.
All right,
Take care,
everybody.
guys.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Should be